The Cheating Death Podcast is a satirical podcast containing objective, true, direct information about anything and everything under the sun. This program is not afraid to touch the limits that most selected programs do not dare delve into. We are a program in whom is not political, nor are we religious. Just a tiny bit analytical, not really litigious, but sometimes. It depends on the circumstances. But one thing we make crystal clear about this program is that we are not afraid. You are listening to the Cheating Death Podcast. On today's episode of the Cheating Death Podcast, we get into how to overcome your suicidal ideation, your particular desire to no longer be a part of this realm. We also provide you a new joke of the episode, a new business spotlight, 5 metal songs to help you get through your struggle from the 90s, and of course, much, much more. And dear listeners, we'd start to ask each and every single one of you to take care of yourselves, and if you are feeling in any way, shape, or form suicidal while listening to this program, please consult the telephone numbers listed in the episodes and in the podcast's description. This episode will touch on some very direct and some very emotional strong points. Your discretion in this matter is advised, and we are compelling those to subscribe to our YouTube channel at youtube.com/@clericofchaos and youtube.com/@weallcheatdeath. Follow us on Spotify and wherever you find all your major podcasts. And remember, we release a brand new song each and every single week and have done so for the better part of the last 10 years. So if there is anyone in whom is able to identify specifically how to overcome thoughts of a particular nature, dear listener, you may want to strap yourself into this program because we are going to get granular with how you can feel spectacular. Today's episode is for all of you in whom struggle, in whom fight, in whom may be looking for a way out. Never forget this. By now, you know what to do. Grab your coffee and put your feet up and let us tell you how you can cheat death by your own hands. This is your news anchor, the Cleric of Chaos, and this is your Annihilation Announcement. All things end. The second law of thermodynamics dictates quite specifically that entropy is the leading crushing force in the universe, meaning that no matter how hard you try, no matter how hard you try to remain clean and organized and keep everything situated and in particular sections, or no matter how hard you try to compartmentalize your life, it is inevitable that that life will fall to pieces. It is inevitable that you will eventually become filled with disorder, that strife will overcome a lot of the situations where you are currently experiencing. Understand, dear listener, that there are reasons why this transpires. Is it because of a lack of effort? No. Absolutely not. It is predominantly because when we take into consideration exactly what it is that we must do in order to keep our lives in constant order, it is an impossible feat for any one human to be able to do this on a regular basis. As such, when you see issues in government and issues in big business, more often than not, do they blame the individual or individuals responsible for running that department or running that section? No. They blame it on circumstance. They blame it on forecasting. They blame it on just about anything and everything that would keep from being able to tie people into that disaster. As such, you should apply that to yourself. Whenever things go wrong, we have a tendency to look at ourselves in such a harsh critique. We have a tendency to rip ourselves apart viciously and without cause. And it is in these times that we understand exactly what it is that we must do in order to move forward. But we don't. Instead, we choose to ruminate. Instead, we choose to lament. Instead, we choose to hate ourselves for things that we can control. Instead, we move into a new level of understanding, an identification to where none of us enter this world ready to take on. And that is when things become too much and when you become emotionally and mentally overbeared and completely over-encumbered in all shapes and forms and sizes, and there is simply no more space for you to relax, for you to try to move forward, for you to try to do things in a certain way. No. You have reached your breaking point. You have discovered that, quite frankly, you might not necessarily want to be here anymore. You may feel that life is too difficult, that no matter what you do, everything is just going to fall into disarray, that the second law of thermodynamics are going to completely own you and make you a figment of history, one that no one will talk about within the next 50 to 100 years. Because for 99% of us, that's exactly how it's going to go. The moment we take our last breaths, there is a ticking time clock of the amount of finite people who remember who you are. And no matter how famous, no matter how historical, no matter how Leviathan-like or legendary you were in your existence, you still run the idea that one day, people will not know who you are anymore. And that scares you a bit too. Because you think, what is the point of this if there's not going to be anybody who remembers me? What is the point of any of this if people aren't going to remember the good and the bad and the left and the right and the up and the down things I've done? Is there really a point to this existence? On a granular perspective, there may not be. But in a grand, universal, big picture perspective, there is. We all want a galactic lottery being here. Does it necessarily mean that our lottery is going to be a little bit better than everybody else? Absolutely not. It means that we're going to get the shit end of the sandwich. Some people are going to walk in, buy their first lottery ticket ever, and they're going to win $12.2 million. Some people are going to go in and they're going to buy that same scratch ticket for 25 years, and they'll be lucky if they win $3 a year. Life is about perspective. It's about change. It's about fighting and doing what you can to justify to yourself what you need to do to be happy, or at least consistent in your existence. These are things that we all try to a certain degree. But the moment you put that knife to your wrist, the moment you put that poison in your mouth, the moment you jump off that cliff and it's completely inescapable, you've lost. You have given yourself no opportunity to prove yourself wrong. You've given yourself no opportunity to see exactly what it can be if you just look a little bit from the other perspective. Now, is this coming from a man who thinks that every single person is going to be free of suicidal thoughts? Absolutely fucking not. It would be rude, asinine, incorrect, bizarre, and absolutely inappropriate for me to say anything of that nature, or, given the kind of person that I am, and as well as the people who have me running this show, it would be completely bizarre if I were to tell you, hey, it's no big deal. Those thoughts, yeah, they're not a big deal, man. Just don't worry about it. Just break it off. Let it flow. We all know that's not how it works. So throughout this program, regardless of whether you laugh, cry, look in a mirror. The whole point of this episode is to identify a couple things that maybe you haven't thought about. Is to identify a couple of things that we all struggle with, and maybe in identifying that struggle, maybe we'll be able to look towards the sun and give ourselves hope towards another day. This has been your news anchor, the Cleric of Chaos, and this has been your Annihilation Announcement. Today's program is not going to be for the weak-hearted, but we make it with love. We love you. This has been your news anchor, the Cleric of Chaos, and this has been your Annihilation Announcement. Willkommen, meine Freunde. Guten Morgen, guten Tag und eine gute Nacht. Ist deine Reisende und deine Ausländer und deine Allesfresser, deine Cleric of Chaos. Let's call a spade. Each and every single one of us have been impacted in some way, shape, or form by a loved one leaving this world before they were supposed to. Am I referencing them specifically removing themselves? Not in all cases. But today, what we are going to be looking into is why people give up and how you may be able to find a little way to say one more day. Over the course of millennia, it has become a common trend and or a common societal fixture for people to really truly harp on people in whom are depressed or have differing mental issues, whether it be being on the spectrum or having bipolar disorder, having borderline personality disorder, having some sort of conduct issue, or anything else to that nature. We have become so fragmented and so broken as a society that we no longer possess the skills to truly or universally care for each other anymore. Why? It's because technology has grown too fast, socializing and empathy have grown too slow. So we are now millions upon millions upon millions of people with more access to more technological communication and internet information than we have ever had throughout our entire lives, and we, those of us in whom were born after 1985 or 1988 or 1992 or 1996, doesn't really matter. Anyone born before the year 2000, for lack of a better term, at some point in their life, unless you have a full silver spoon, let's admit it, ladies and gentlemen, we're fucked. Completely fucked. Economically, socially, governmentally, nationally, internationally, athletically, intellectually, medically, and so many more ways. What is it that we're doing about this as a society? Are we asking ourselves what more we can do in order to help those around us? Are we asking ourselves, what can we do to increase the benevolence that we see on a daily basis? No, we're not. And the reason that is because we are so overwhelmed and so over-encumbered with what life is like in the modern era, and with each and every single person in a major metropolis needing to work over 50 hours a week in order to survive the very base minimum expenses that a lot of us take for granted. Of course life is going to become arduous. Of course you're going to wake up in the morning sometimes and be stressed out from sunup to sundown. Some people are going to work without eating. Some people are going to work knowing they cannot afford to feed their families. Some people are going to work knowing that they will not be able to afford to pay a lighting bill or a heating bill or an internet bill, or they won't be able to provide themselves sustenance or any type of activity that frees them from the boring monopoly and monotony that is a bullshit work environment and a non-fun existence. We as people ask ourselves what more we can do. How can we help? What can we find within ourselves to keep ourselves from wanting to jump off a fucking cliff? How is it that we can overcome these situations to a degree to where we are going to be better people, happier people, more emotionally invested people? Those aren't the questions that we should be asking ourselves. The questions that we should be asking is, how can I make this work for me so I can breathe? How can I get past this situation without blaming myself? Because this situation more than likely isn't 100% my fault, especially if it has to do with a long-standing situation to where you've just been going back and forth emotionally. There's a lot of people on this world who are very stressed out and very struggling seriously and completely, sadly, in this realm right now, We don't have any level of understanding on a grand scale just how bad the mental health crisis is. Every 5 seconds, someone in North America ends their lives. Approximately 75% of suicides are men. A bare minimum, 300,000 suicides a year take place. And when you take into consideration just how little help there is, how few resources there are for people, for the sake of this program, it's not going to say who has it better or who has it worse, men or women. It's pretty shitty for both sides. But men, I'm going to talk to you for a second. Couple of things that you need to understand. And number one, quite bluntly, that is, you don't need to beat yourself up for every failure. You don't need to look at yourself in the mirror and cry because your relationships with romantic ideology or event or connotations, you don't have to cry because they're gone or because you want one and you do not have one. The universe has a very bizarre way of bestowing things upon people. And if you are crying over relationships, if you are crying over your job, if you're crying over just how hard your life is, you're not alone. You need to let that out. You need to cry. You need to do what you need to do to move on. If that means getting therapy, if that means speaking to a mobile crisis team, if that means getting yourself some selective serotonin reuptake inhibitors or getting yourself antidepressants, it doesn't matter. What matters is that you do what you can to fight. What matters is that you do what you can to survive and that you do what you can to live another day. And ladies, nobody ever prepares you for how difficult it is for you to go to one of your long-term friends with a problem and or an issue that you consider to be life-threatening, only for them to have it completely blown off. And for you to be left in bewilderment as to how and why you could be friends with somebody for so long. Meanwhile, it doesn't even seem like they get you. Well, there are a couple of reasons that happens. One is because the person that you have made friends with either clearly doesn't understand the gravity of your issue, or two, they just don't care. It's almost never anything other than those two things. And when we are quick to jump on others for how they operate, for how they are, for how they behave, for how they handle crises, just remember, this life is not going to be easy for 90% of the people in whom cross its thresholds. How we handle suicide as a society is abhorrent. It is pathetic. It is disgusting. Because all of the fake Christians out there like to commonly state that God is going to make you burn in hell for killing yourself. Meanwhile, it says quite clearly in the book of Matthew, multiple times, that not only did Jesus never tell anybody to read a Bible, but Jesus cared for the lost. Specifically, those in whom had removed themselves from the plane. He made sure to give their souls extra attention to ensure that it does not happen. And yet you have religious figures telling you that if you end your life, Jesus is going to send you to hell. You have religious figures telling you that if you read the Torah and if you read the Quran, and if you kill yourself, that Allah and Moses and Abraham and all the early monotheistic and polytheistic gods, they will not be happy with you and you will be cast into forever torment and hellfire. One, I hate to burst your bubble, religious people, but it doesn't work like that. It does not. At no point throughout your death are you going to be sent to hell because of anything that you have done here that did not harm another organism, another soul, or mess with the universe in a way that was completely unacceptable. Do not use religious books as a guide to your emotional conflicts. Use your heart, your soul, your brain, and whatever mental health resources you have. Do not be afraid to call 1-800-273-8255, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Do not be afraid to dial 311-811 or 988 from your local area if you are in North America. The most important part, dear listeners, is that it doesn't really matter how you overcome a suicidal thought or an ideation. What matters is that you just do what you can to overcome it, and that you think to yourself and understand just how valued and how beautiful that your existence is. Life might not make sense to you right now, but it will not make sense to you if you're gone. So the next time that you feel in a dark place, and the next time that you try your best to move forward, when it feels like there is no escape, no window, no walls, no doors, look inside, breathe, and at least ask yourself if you're willing to prove yourself wrong. And thank you for tuning in today, dear listeners. Take care of yourselves and each other. On today's top 5 list, given the nature and the gravity of the subject matter, we felt it would be necessary to provide you with 5 deep, understanding metal songs of the 1990s in which may be able to assist you in feeling how you are feeling. Coming in at number 5, we have Wilder Wein by Rammstein. Coming in at number 5, we have The Fourth Dimension by Hypocrisy. Coming in at number 3, we have On Your Knees Again by Pain. Coming in at 2, we have Altermann by Rammstein. And coming in at number 1, we have Disconnected Magnetic Corridors by Hypocrisy. What are your top 5 90s metal songs for when you're feeling blue? Email us at thecheatingdeathpodcast@gmail.com or comment beneath this video. Today's joke has been brought to you by the Cleric of Chaos. There was once a man who knew how to take any salad and convert it into a Caesar salad. There was a chef in whom was curious as to how any particular type of salad could be turned and manifested into one, a la Jesus turning water into wine, sort of miraculous types of events. And one day he felt like asking the sous chef exactly how this was done. And the sous chef looked at him pointedly and said, it's pretty easy. You just got to stab the salad 23 times. On today's episode of the Business Spotlight, we are once again sponsored by CRDVC. That is right. Chaos Realm Deutschland Venture Capital. Are you a business in North America looking to understand how the business culture in this lovely continent works? Are you looking for a low-cost consultant to assist you with event planning on a corporate or on a small business level? Are you looking to find out what makes your employees leave when they don't tell you? Are you looking to maybe keep them on a little bit longer? By all means, if these are any of the services that you are looking to employ under a consultant in whom has over 20 years of experience within varying industries, both entertainment, finance, as well as hospitality, by all means, email us at thecheatingdeathpodcast@gmail.com and check out linktr.ee/cleric of chaos for meeting options, rates, and much, much more. Dear listener, given the nature and the dynamics of circumstances, it is imperative that we give ourselves an opportunity to have a laugh every once in a while. So our first business today comes to you from 844 Bloor Street in Toronto, Ontario, Canada. The comedy club known as Keys Comedy Club is one of the greatest and most unique comedy venues in the entire city, with shows happening almost every single night of the week. Head on over to keyscomedyclub.com and give yourself an opportunity to get some cost-effective tickets and have yourself a new laugh and expose yourself to a new line of comedy that is not afraid to go there. Ladies and gentlemen, are you hungry and looking to grab a snack? By all means, visit our friends over at 10 College Street at the W Burger Bar. Any day, Monday through Sunday, 11 a.m. through 2 a.m. Happy hour deals in between 3 p.m. and 6 p.m. Lunch specials between 11 and 3 and $9.99 for a burger and fries and $2.25 PBRs all day. W Burger Bar is going to give you everything that you need in order to understand, in order to be able to identify exactly what it is that you need to get that delicious French fry. Of course, while we're talking about food, why not head on over to our friends over at Añejo for their 3 p.m. to 5 p.m. happy hour over at 600 King Street West in Toronto, Ontario, open daily from 11 a.m. to 2:30 a.m. Take advantage of their $4 birria, carne asadas, and, of course, if we're looking at the lovely, delicious tikka tacos, you can get yourself an absolute smorgasbord of tacos and cost-effective margaritas in between the hours of 3 and 5. So, if you are down in Toronto and you want to get yourself a fun time, by all means, give this a shot. You will not be disappointed. And dear listeners, if you would like to feature your business on the Business Spotlight, by all means email us at thecheatingdeathpodcast@gmail.com, and feel free to check out linktr.ee/cleric for applicable rates and timings. Remember, while you may run your own business, how you do so is no one else's business. Overcoming ideations of a suicidal nature is never a one-trick pony. There's never going to be a solution that is going to work universally, because we're all wired differently. We're all wired to take things in ways that a lot of us have not yet really fully formalized or identified that we have to process. We all do what we can. We all move forward. We all try our best, one day, one moment, one breath, 1 hour, 1 minute at a time. But even then, life can be overwhelming. Life can be something that you really truly identify within yourself to be a challenge instead of an experience. And is this coming from a guy who has everything figured out? Absolutely not. Far from it. The only difference between you or I, dear listener, are the life differences that we've had. We both are souls renting a human body, regardless of how that body looks, regardless of what idiosyncrasies or various quirks and or flaws it comes with. It's still you. You still wake up every day, to some degree, trying to make an honest living, trying to move forward, and trying to deal with everything that you deal with in your life without everything falling to pieces. We are now at a point in society where it is not easy to recover from loss. It is not easy to recover from injury. It is absolutely not easy to recover from a delay that could shorten and or limit your ability to move forward and to progress. These situations are never going to reach a point to where you are going to be completely destroyed. As long as you are breathing, as long as you are ticking, as long as you are fighting, there is a chance that you will overcome the situations in which you are currently facing. There is no clear or easy answer for you to employ each and every single time you experience these calamities. But the fact that you try, the fact that you refuse to take that knife, those pills, that poison, the fact that you refuse to jump off that cliff, you don't want to jump off your balcony building, you don't want to sneak up to the top floor of a downtown metropolis rooftop where you know the security is lax and you can get up there with absolutely no issue. You want to fight. You want to push forward. These feelings are imperative to understand. And dear listener, no matter how long it takes you, fight it. Overcome it. Because the people who love you will not be the same. And that's not meant as a guilt trip. It's because they are going to miss you. It may not seem like it at the time when you are ruminating and you are lamenting over your various life circumstances. But rest assured, even if you don't really talk to that many people, the moment people hear about your demise is going to change everything for a lot of people. People are going to ask themselves questions. What more could I have done? What more could I have said? Why didn't I head over to their house when I knew they were feeling upset? Why didn't I check in more? It's because society doesn't really give us an opportunity to do that. We preach about the need to follow up with our friends and to be more communal and to be more open and understanding. But the actual practical application of this practice does not transpire very much at all. So as long as you are doing something to try to mitigate your feelings, that is half the battle. And horrible G.I. Joe puns aside, you doing the work to overcome the feelings that you are experiencing absolutely nothing short of tremendous. And you owe yourself a lot of credit. Thank you for tuning in today. Take care of yourselves and each other. The Cheating Death Podcast is brought to you by Nach dem Leben CRDVC, Cleric of Chaos, where you can find all podcasts on all platforms. Please like, share, subscribe at the program, as well as youtube.com/@clericofchaos and youtube.com/@weallcheatdeath. We are trying to reach 200 to 500 subscribers by the end of the year on the YouTube. So feel free to hop on over there and explore some of the lovely content. Of course, dear listeners, this program would not be possible without listeners like you, and identifying that if listeners like you are going through gambling, abuse, substance withdrawal, domestic violence, or much, much more, please consult the telephone numbers listed in the episodes and in the podcast's description. If you are looking at adopting a playful puppy or a cute kitten, please visit your local animal adoption rescue center. And there is absolutely no greater need in this life than for us to feel the sun. So the next time, dear listener, that you feel that your life is not a one-track solution, by all means, look towards the sky and try to find a different perspective. You are needed. You are valued. Your life matters. And we here at the Cheating Death Podcast will do anything we can to ensure that your presence on this planet is celebrated and revered in a way that only you can appreciate. And if you need help, and those telephone numbers are not enough, email us at thecheatingdeathpodcast@gmail.com. Comment under this video and we'll do everything that we can to help. But we would like to thank you very much for tuning in today. And remember, we are pulling for you. We're all in this together.